Hello?
Welcome.
This is the two cities.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Hello, loyal listeners. This episode is continuing our Halloween marathon of minis. We're going to be sharing stories from several states, and the best part is you get to tell us which states you want to hear about. In this episode, I'm going to be sharing a tale from New Hampshire. The Cursed Isle of Shoals is an archipelago off of New Hampshire's eastern shore, a beautiful place that has a dark history. Two young women were brutally murdered, butchered by a maniac with an axe in the 1870s. Legend has it their cries and screams can still be heard late at night. The island, called Smuttynose, is said to be haunted by the axe murderer, pirates, and other strange poltergeists. Blackbeard, the pirate, was rumored to use the island as a honeymoon spot, and he stored gold there through the early 18th century. He killed people along his way, as Blackbeard would, and his wives were told to guard his gold when he left, but they are rumored to have never left. Many have claimed to see the beautiful ghost of White Island, where many of Blackbeard's victims were buried. The ghost is described as tall and shapely in a long cloak. Her curly blonde hair settles on her shoulders, and her pale face is as cold as marble. She's motionless, and the breeze never moves her cloak. Even before Louis Wainer killed two women living in Smuttynose, there were already ghost stories about the various hauntings on the island. In 1813, a ship believed to be the Sagunto broke apart on the shore of Smuttynose. All the men were left to fend for themselves. Men moved towards a light ahead of them, a lantern, in a settler's cabin. They struggled against the wind and snow, and in the morning, Samuel Halley, the island's resident, found 14 bodies of sailors who had been crawling to the cabin. He then found two more men hung over the stone wall of his home. They had frozen to death, mouths open, screaming for help. Halley and his family had slept through the storm, but were horrified with the aftermath. They buried the unknown sailors on the island, but the Spanish sailors did not rest peacefully. Their ghosts walked the shores of Smuttynose, signaling ships to hitch a ride back to Spain. Murders are also a prominent part of the Isle of Shoals. A fisherman accosted a man's wife in her yard. She fought him and screamed, but he stabbed her in the chest, and she lay dying as he returned to his boat where he set sail for Boston in the morning. When island residents discovered the woman's body, they were sure that her husband had killed her. The husband was accused of murder, and police came from Portsmouth, but a storm arrived before they were able to take the husband back to New Hampshire. During the storm, the man leaped through a window and ran to the beach. He launched a rowboat, and he was never seen again. Months later, when the crew of men returned to the scene of the crime, screams echoed through their boat. A crew member found one of their mates waving a bloody stump where his hand had been. A sailor reported having heard the dips of oars and had seen a rowboat moving quickly away at the time of the incident. From that moment on, no crews were safe in the harbor of Shoals. Every stormy night, a crewman would be found killed, usually mutilated. One had an ear chopped off, another an eye taken from its socket, one lost a foot. The rowboat was always spotted leaving the scene of the crime. On Appledore Island, another ghost has established residency. In 1826, a man who had gone to the island for a fresh ocean air in the hopes of finding it curative to his illness, noticed a woman staring out to sea. Thinking she was waiting on a lover, he asked her, "Well, my pretty maiden, do you see anything of him?" She looked at him with her sad blue eyes. "He will come again." She then disappeared behind a boulder. The man followed but found no sign of her. He asked the islanders, but no one knew of a woman that he described. Rain or shine, the woman's ghost stood at the water's edge, screaming when the sea grew stormy. And when the man stood beside her, he heard the words, "He will come again," but he was never quite sure if it was in his mind or a reality. He later learned that she had been brought to the island by one of Blackbeard's comrades, Captain Scott. She lived and died guarding his treasure. On Duck Island, another female ghost appeared to partygoers. The people, sitting on the beach after having a picnic, had begun to sing and play guitar. It was a beautiful summer day. Two of the men decided to go exploring and promised to return before sunset. Recent rains had turned hollows into bogs, and the men trudged on. They discovered an abandoned cabin with holes for windows, and they found two empty rooms. They left the building and began to walk, but turned around once more, when they noticed the face of a woman in the window. They were shocked as her face changed from that of a young woman to an ugly hag. And they went back, but the rooms were still empty. They returned to their friends and hurried off the island, never to return. Creepy stuff. I don't know that I'll ever visit the Isle of Shoals. We're going to be continuing our Halloween marathon of minis, soon with stories from different states. And thanks to Thrillist for their list, The Creepiest Urban Legend in Every State, which provided some of our info for tonight's episode. Music for this episode is from Kevin MacLeod. Song is appropriately named Ghost Story.
Licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. That can be accessed at creativecommons.org.
And another friendly reminder, we really love to hear from you. Let us know what you think and let us know where you're from so we can feature your state. Until next time.